everyone. Welcome back to TouchStarved. We're back with the silly music again too, because the music is not playable. So this is what we got. I'm so sorry to the creators. If it's not what you envisioned, I'm certain it's not. That's what I got. I just didn't want it to be like me and my thoughts. If I had to just hear myself, I would have started crying. But I don't know. It gives a spooky Halloween vibe, which is what I got with this game and the music and the monsters and the horror and the stuff. So, anyways, last time we they set the scene. We're like I chose to be me forgetting all the words for everything. Anyways, but so we have a curse. I don't remember if they said that. I think they said that we've just had it forever. Like we've had it for a long time, and we are searching for the cure for it in Iridia, for the Cenobium, which is like I guess a big fancy school or something where they have a lot of knowledge. So we got attacked on our way in, and we got saved by Curris, I think is his name. He's the doctor. He was pretty and had melanin. So we got saved by him, and then we got sent to Leander to help get some footing, and he got us set up and just told us to explore. So now we're out on the street after he helped us, and we're meeting someone new. And that's where we stopped. So let's see. A monster. That much is clear from a glance. Only that could nearly be mistaken for a human, if not for the tufted ears and the tail curled around his ankle. Or the dust-pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet, and the monster uncrosses his long legs. His hair gleams a soft shade of red that reminds me unsettlingly of blood, where it curls around his collared throat. It all looks the same shade to me. Maybe I'm crazy. What voice do you want to give him? Jumpy, aren't you? We'll go with that. We'll see. They're kind of all going to be in the same row. I have like one man voice. Please don't at me. It's either man or southern. There's no in between. His tone is so light and carefree. God damn, it's light and carefree. Okay, we'll workshop it. Then I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see the shadow just now? It was massive. Oh, it was me. Damn. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive and moved like a beast. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound, but the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only strange beasts I've seen are the Wick's drooling regulars, though this did catch my eye. My key. What? No, I didn't see anything. Neither did you. What? With a flourish of his hand, my in-room key appears dangling from his finger. It turns on its chain, glittering when it catches the light. My hands fly to my cloak pocket, and sure enough, find them flat. He crooks his finger, beckoning. I've already taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm still on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edges of my vision. I always attract the worst kinds of attention, but I can't get rattled now. Well, he knows it's my key. Where'd you find it? How'd you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shiny things. He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. Yeah, obviously it's pointed canines. It's like a fox or something. I saw you drop it. You should really be more careful. City like this, someone might take advantage. A bald-faced lie said without a hint of irony. There's no way I dropped that key, but I can't think of an explanation for how it went from my pockets to his hand. I approach the man carefully to keep an arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. Oh, he looks so cute. The stranger's chain softly clinks with the tilt of his head. His ears flick. Keeping your distance? Until I figure out how you managed to rob me? Yeah, I am. You think I stole your dinky little key from all the way over here? He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? He's got me there. You're a fox. How would I know? You just look like a pretty man. The sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be too expensive for most of the street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like they cost more than I'd spent traveling here. And then there's the shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, and I doubt I could afford your services anyway. Luckily for you, I don't charge. The man runs the tip of his tongue over his fangs, and for the first time since I stepped into the shadow, I feel something other than dread. The urge to kiss? What? I don't actually find him attractive. Stating that. My face grows hot. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. Were sex my trade... Oh, hold on. I was wrong person. I'm flattered, really. Were sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. How about half off for a handy? Or you could just hand me my key. Ask nicely and I might even let you tug my tail. I just want my key. Just throw it here. So some spindly little street urchin can snatch it and run. He raises my key and tilts his head so he can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here, so tell me, traveler, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice particularly dips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could have possibly drawn you to this dreary little pig pen, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's shit, the food's dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flick towards me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. By now, my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. If this has a shakedown, it's the most frustrating one I've ever experienced. Let's throw in a save. We're gonna be that bitch. Yeah, flirt with him too. I can't help it. I know what I am, a rodent. How'd you know that I'd spent all my money, starved, and nearly died in a swamp just so I could crawl into bed with the first thirsty monster I saw? That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. He gazes at me under his dark lashes. Aren't you funny? Could you be any more obvious? I've been told subtlety is not my strength. So, your place or mine. What? I'll pass. Tempting, but no. Yet he still smiles undeterred. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. And something tells me that this one's more dangerous than he lets on, even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me, but I'm not coming any closer until I know why you aren't going to attack or bite. I won't bite hard unless you beg me. No matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into an innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we're having a conversation and not a standoff. Do you like dancing? There's a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. The lutist is utterly exquisite. Truly a performance to die for. There's life in this dreadful place, if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling from his finger. Naturally, This dump was more than a miserable little smear when I first arrived. High town, low town, I know Iridia like the back of my hand. What about Cenobium? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it. That absurdly large tower looming over the rest. It's a little hard to miss. He must mean that spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. The Cenobium's overrated. Forget about it. I can show you things those stuffy boars in their limptic tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh. Have you some pressing matters at the Cenobium? Lunch dates with librarians? Tea times with the most esteemed abbess? That's my business. What does it matter to you? I square my shoulders and the amusement bleeds out of him. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of his tedious game, extends his hand towards me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin under leather. Then he makes no other move. I reach for the key, but as soon as my fingers graze the smooth brass, his hand springs shut around my elbow. Hey! Hi. He yanks me down and I stagger, my soul slipping onto the steps. For a moment, I fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them, even if his fingers dig into my arm. I knew I smelled blood. You reek of death and the road. And that fucking doctor. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. And something else, he murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Let go! I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just when I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Not quite human, not quite monster. Seems we're both. Very. The stranger's ears flatten as he releases me with a short breath. I yank back my arm, massaging where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her pressed uniform bears the insignia of the Cenobium. I leave you for all of what, 10 minutes, and you're making trouble again? Will you quit harassing the tourists? The stranger, very I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric a withering smile. So suspicious. Can't you see this is a friend of mine? A natural liar. He grins at me, and his tail swishes minutely. The woman purses her lips at me, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Very cuts in. I was graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger's drawn to you like a moth to a flame. It'll always find you given time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she heard this recital 102 times. Word of advice? Don't take free advice from lazy foxes lounging in the street. This crook would sell water to a drowning man for sheer enjoyment of it. He is a fox. Okay, that's what I thought he was. She shrugs off a wilting look from Very. Oh, please. Any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Very rises gracefully at her approach. He pushes his hair aside and drapes it over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his neck. And suddenly, it dawns on me that the jingling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to the collar, but a leash. A heavy iron chain wound around the hitching post and a padlock to the back of his collar. Very posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. Oh, that's sad. The woman produced a keyring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless your friend is tagging along on our merry little soulless hunt. They're hunting soulless inside the city? Words momentarily fail me. The woman regards me with a polite, if tight smile before marching down the stairs. Very lingers. He stretches his arm over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens where he arches his back. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed, Very hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned at the Leviathan Knot? The one where you take 3 fingers and... Actually, don't tell me. Knowing you, it's disgusting. Varys' airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after he and the cleric have vanished from sight that I realize something... I'm still missing something. Wait! Reflexively, I shove my hand in into my pockets and find it, the room key. I ease the key from my pocket and soothe my thumb over its teeth as I tried to recall a touch, a tell, or any hint of Varys' sleight of hand, but I can't figure out how he did it. Probably when he was smelling her neck. And he got caught. It was probably at that moment that he put it back. All I know for certain is that the Cenobium saw fit to leash him, a fate I could share, if that's what his vague warning meant. Yeah, probably. I let my eyes drift skyward past the lanterns gently swaying in the breeze to the Cenobium, faintly visible through haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, then I can put this all behind me. This time, the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping. Yeah, it's seeming like we should not, it's seeming like we should not go to the Cenobium. That's what it seems like. It seems like it's bad vibes. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridian, too. A colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill towards the distant tower. It's giving bad idea. Is this the front of it? Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead, I finally found what I was searching for. The Cenobium of Luminous Void. It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the Cenobium Tower disappears into the clouds overhead. I frown at the gates, wondering what horrible traps they might contain. Despite their delicate beauty, there must be more to them than meets the eye. Oh yeah, we're not going in there. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps when something moves in my peripheral vision. Another pretty person. A shadowy figure crouched beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine, as if testing its strength. Oi, you there! The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps towards me. Ugh, another tourist. Get out of here once you're done gawking. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for me to answer. I look back to where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing. Just the leaves blowing gently in a cool breeze. Okay. Cool. I step away from the gates, hopelessness washing over me. Hello. A whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gone. Ugh, sorry. Having a moment. She's gone as a rail. I don't know what that word means, if I'm honest. Time to look it up. I don't know what gaunt means. I've like really thinking about it. I don't think I know what that means. Lean and haggard, especially of suffering, hunger, or age. It also can mean grim or desolate in appearance. Okay. Got it. She's gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eaten. I'm unable to take my eyes off her, not because of the way she smiles a little too widely, or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days, I guess she's ragged. Is she old? I don't know. We'll give her an old lady voice, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. These days, you need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure of how to respond, or even if I should. Just don't say anything. After the experience I've just had, I'm not too keen on indulging strangers with small talk. Despite my silence, she maintains her unflinching stare and smile. Lucky for you, I have miracles for free. Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. No thanks. Oh. I start down the stairs, but she roughly steps into my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lace of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. Well, that's not slang. What are you... As the worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar caves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. Don't pay attention to the really fun, silly music right now. A shuddering breath escapes me. The fuck? Whatever disease this woman had ate away at her from the inside out. How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet the power to cure anything can be yours too. The power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. With another glance, she leisurely strolls down the synovium stairs, loose braids bobbing behind her. The edge of her scar peeks out from under her collar. I stand there wordless, until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision of my life, but what choice do I have? I take the final look at the synovium shut gates, and then follow her down the steps. We descend from the higher streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict streets of districts feel more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther, then farther still, until I'm met with an all-too-familiar sight. Oh. My gut lurches when I face the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight, and probably safer for it. But venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I bark out a bitter laughter. Loud and involuntary. I'd rather not. Are you kidding? It's not safe out there. You are safe inside the city as you are out of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. Girl, I got attacked yesterday. Sorry. Drinking water, hoping that helps with my nasty little throat. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to Aes. Ice? Aes? Well, I don't know. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that. I squint against the empty wasteland. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. Apparently, I'm both. But if the sea spring cured her, I need to see what he can do for me. I set off into the waste over my shoulder. The woman calls after me. Good luck, Kay. I hope we meet again. I have not introduced myself to you. My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. For what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward. One step, then another. Until a realization hits me. I never told that woman my name. Yeah, I know. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building nestled into a tall cliffside. But so starkly out of place it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stand out on the horizon. Trees, I think, until I'm close enough to realize what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless. Several of them watch me in the distance like statues. I don't think. I just run, exploding into a messy sprint. I push my legs as fast as it'll take me towards that decorated building. Flashes of last night chase me. The gushes of blood and screams of death. I smell burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. Cool. Ooh. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but when I process my surroundings... Okay, cool. It's very shrine-like. Oh, Okay. It's more hellscape than sanctuary. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth. But the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be the sea spring, the place that grants miracles. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Oh, that's water! That's crazy. A tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Seating pillows scatter the floor. A rustic kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. Yeah, call out, why not? Hello? Is anyone here? My voice echoes across the cavern without response. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for... Let's just go to the closest one. That's probably what happened. I reach for the note in front of me. It reads, "Dear Mother, don't cry for me. I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye, but we'll meet again in another life. I love you very much. From Iris. P.S. If you ever see me, never speak to me again." Dang, get ruined. It's written in perfect cursive. I've never seen such beautiful handwriting. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck. But it's empty. Vacant. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper, something wrong. Hey. I'm not sure what, who, why, what. I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly. All different sizes and species, but sharing one identical trait. Glowing crimson eyes. I try to back away, but then my heel teeters over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. That voice again. At the sound of it, the soulless freeze, their snarls quieting. Oh, I am in a man's stomach. Hello? I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. Bark, what? You look lost, little sparrow. We're trying to go deeper and deeper, I guess. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaves me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over. First the scarred woman, and now the soulless circling me, all bound by sea springs blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist and coil around the wooden beams. I can't focus. The soulless growls ring in my ear. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises in my throat, and I struggle to track them. Hey. Eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? I'm distracted. Oh, my bad. Wrong kind of distracted. I will sit myself down. My bad. I apologize. I was somewhere else. We did not agree on where we were. I apologize. I'm kind of distracted by the soul is about to maul me. Only by command. Bastard, shut up. It's so funny. Only on my command. I scan the soulless again. They really aren't attacking. Posturing more than anything else. You tamed them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. And that's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug. I called out earlier to see if anyone was here. Were we supposed to play hide and seek? Didn't hear ya. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to defuse the situation. What do you want? Tell me what you want. I'm not in the mood for guessing games. Your hands. Alarm jolts through me. I hide my hands under my cloak. Yeah, you know what honestly was not the move? I hear you with the bandages. Why don't we have, like, gloves or something? Because there's nothing that draws more attention to somebody's hands and stuff like bandages. Like, we should be wearing, like, long sleeves and gloves. That's what we should be wearing. Because then it's less noticeable. Apparently the rest of our body looks fine. So I'm thinking if it's just you need a fabric covering it, we should just be wearing long sleeves and, like, gloves or something. I know, I hear you. They gave us the clothes, blah, 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 blah. But the first set of clothes we had bandages too. So, I don't know. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly hold up my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are one command away from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well. The hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of my bandages. Stop. With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panel's underfoot. He's a monster, with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Well, anyone taller than anyone. So many people are quote-unquote big to me. Dude, if you're above 5'4", you're taller than me. 5'5", you're looking like a giant right now. Illuminated by lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clicks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he gonna kill me? I step backwards and find nothing to set my foot on. I'd forgotten my back was to the C-spring. I fall right before a warm hand catches my lower back. Bark. What? I'm hovering above the C-spring, the scent of smoke and leathery enveloping me. Bark. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine, and a kiss. What? I'm playing. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the soulless around us disperse and relax. Their shift in demeanor is so abrupt it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though now I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. Oh, he's cute. Bark, what? As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So that's it, I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one. Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I drag a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're AS, aren't you? Depends on who's asking. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said that you're a gang leader. But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. AS picks up a kettle and walks to the edge of the C-spring and then dumps out the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. Hello? His pleasant smile stretches across... Wait, what? Stretches across his face from ear to ear. Oh, wait, I didn't see his face. He's cute. Then in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. Something must have happened. I learned to recognize a real leader when I see one. AS regrettably fits the type perfectly. He knows how to scare people. He expects submission. But it's uncommon for someone so used to power to be so alone. What did you need the C-Springs power for? Depends. Can it cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? No. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting a tray of cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow. The sea spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the sea spring? My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my gut churn. Is there a price? Always. Ayas taps the temple with his finger. You lose it a bit. That's it? Might have might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused, fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank it from before. Humans, monsters, soulless, one big happy family in your head. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. I thought they were just rumors. I've heard whispers of cults performing rituals to bind their members' minds together. It never seemed possible. But something tells me this is real, even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but obviously you haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Aya strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait already? But you barely told me anything. Came on a bad day. I've got somewhere to be. There's still so many questions burning at the tip of my tongue, but frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I get threatened and kicked out? You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to run into the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Ayas' advice and clamp my mouth shut. Ayas approaches a nearby soulless, a lanky dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimin eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly, and then Ayas squats beside it. His fingers run through the tendrils, scratches its chin, and pats its head. A gentle smile plays across Ayas' lips. The affection he holds for the soulless is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. Girl, you need to quit falling for everybody you see. I know that's like the point. There's only one man that I've been like, stop. That's that second guy who I barely... Oh, Leander. And his name's Leander. So... This man, I'm like, oh, he's fine, but I'd get him. The wolf, I don't know, the fox. He's... Well, I don't know. Not my vibe, generally. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Oh, that's nice of him. Following a short whistle from Ayas, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the soulless warily. Pretty's not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I give a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the soulless at a measured distance and watch it nudge giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I see Ayas' eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes me an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. Say. Outside, more crimson-eyed soulless scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the soulless look over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Dang, we had a long walk. We are still here. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. The soulless sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. Pet it. Oh wait, hold on, back that up. Save. Slay. yeah, pet it. I'm so certain in my answers, and I'm like, oh wait, I should save. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the soulless's tendrils and scratch behind its chin, just as Aya's had. It pushes into my palm in response, rubbing with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the soulless spins around and scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, but I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible, tamed soulless being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. Sly calling it a day? Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The city, labyrinthine, even in the daytime, has become a warren of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city was abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearings towards the wet wick. My steps slow as I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? I would assume something's wrong. Oh, wait, go back. Save. This one. I think it doesn't matter as much because it's the prologue. I'd assume something's wrong. The fine hairs in the back of my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tight around my body, I hurry on my way, though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently. There's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass, nothing happens. I begin to wonder, maybe I really did imagine that noise? I turn the next corner and my thoughts come screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. Okay. The soulless that attacked the caravan. It's crouched over a dark, indistinct shape, a body. A garland of intestines spill from the placid flesh. Blood grouts the cobblestone. For a mercy, the soulless is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet, slurping sounds don't abate, I take another, then another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the soulless raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its bulging eyes fixed unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Run. I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened street. Behind me, a piercing bay splits the silence, and even foot-tails pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now, a wet, fluttering rasp, growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arms swipe out. I duck, saved by pure reflex, and skid around the corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way, a dead end. When I turn around, the soulless looms in the entryway to the alley. It's no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but let's save on this one again, because I don't think that one mattered that much. Try the nearest door. I whirl, grabbing the handle of the nearest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push, and I feel a flash of hope before a weight hits the door from the other side and slams it shut. The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind a stranger. The soulless gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges before me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but the slick cobblestones betray me and I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. Dang. But the impact never comes. Bark, what? I warily crack one of my eyes open, then the other. Not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outstretched. This is the guy we saw earlier. In the wall. Slay. Hold on. Moonlight silvers the edge of their stiletto knife? Their face and hands are splattered with blood, and the soulless, my eyes dart past the unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form behind them. The soulless's many eyes, once rested and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A pool of red spreads slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead after all. After all the people it's killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Now I gotta pick another voice. I got like 3 man voices. What do I do? What do I do? Well. Yeah, we'll do that. Well. I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part on the brink of a question, then close again. With a strength belaying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping blood from their face and hands. A pretty person. Stay there. They turn away from me, stiffly, leaning over the soulless's gangly body. With their back towards me, I realize I saw their hooded silhouette at the cenobium. Yeah. You were at the cenobium. I'd seen you before. You were at the cenobium earlier, weren't you? They cast a wary look at me. So what if I was? Their harsh response takes me aback. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. Oh, they're mad. What are you thinking, traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. I'm locked in, sorry. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they save me, and now they scold me? Lesson learned. I could do without the lecture, though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the soulless's corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Kay. Min. Suddenly, Min tenses. Their blade flashes as they drive it into the back of the soulless's neck. The soulless thrashes once, letting out rattled hissing as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper, until there's a sickening crunch, and the creature goes limp. My heart thuds in my chest. I must have been clinging to my life by a thread. Min straightens up, withdrawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put the wretched... Oh god, I'm trying to do like that really low whispery one. Kind of like the one I did for the hot man, but like more monotoned. And I'm just like, my throat's so dead right. Okay, we're gonna try it. We're gonna do it. Better to put wretched things like this out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. That swift, unhesitating, lethal strike wasn't the work of an amateur. They don't look like one. I like this. This is pretty. They don't act like any of the cold-blooded killers I've seen in the past. Why is a soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Soulless can come and go as they please, until someone is contracted to stop them. The cenobium patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown. Not anymore. Let me guess. You're not a fan of the cenobium. I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows, and they sheathe their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure of what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in the city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that Solus, and you ran the way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise. Their answer is stingingly harsh. I just need to find my house, bro. I hold up my hands, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to stay out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? Nothing, but there's no harm in asking. That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits, and they look away, scowling. How troublesome. Okay. Oh, British man, what? I turn, surprised by the voice. Kuros walks down the street towards us. His white and gold clothing is pristine, despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that Solus was your work. Min shrugs. There's a familiarity to the way they regard each other. Oh, you know them, Kuros? Min is a freelancer who's done a few errands for me. They're quite reliable. Unreliable freelancers don't eat. There's something Kuros isn't saying here. Kay needs to get back to wherever they're staying before they wander into the jaws of another Solus. It's late. Were you able to find a place to stay, Kay? I'm staying at the Wet Wick. Both of their faces fall. Yo, you told me to go there. What do you want from me? Are you gonna buy me a house or what? Like, you made me go there. Anyways, I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about alleys. That would be nice. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district. That gaudy suspect. Come this way. Despite Min's clear distaste, when Kuros leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Kuros is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch Kuros hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wet Wick. The route Kuros takes is completely different from the slow meandering earlier in this morning. In no time at all, he gets through the darkened streets and twisting alleys. Ooh, look how pretty this district is at night. Slay. It seems like half the city is poured into the Amaryllis district's colorful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wet Wick, its doors hanging wide open, lanterns lit. Bark, what? Here we are. He moves towards the door and Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. Oh, fine. He still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. As soon as the doors open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hour since I left, the wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Kuros stands out, easily a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amid the sea of swarming bodies. Pardon me. The crowd parts as though answering his request. Kuros glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Kuros at a clipped pace. Bark, what? I'm gonna have to switch so many voices. But it's gonna be hot and it's gonna be worth it. Leander is right where I left him, although he's traded places with the bartender. He holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch. A flash of magic paints the glasses with white frost. You're never gonna guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar, and I get my third and fourth shots of the evening in rapid succession. Oh, everyone's here. All the hot people are here. Darn. They've all gathered in one sexy, beautiful place. A.S. leans against the bar, his elbow propped up on the counter. He catches the glass and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents magically recongealed, staying firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you're wasted already. Very perched on... Damn, everyone's here. Very perched on the bar's counter beside A.S. Takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket full of boogers. Leander's nose treasure. You've eaten worse. Vera's lips twitch and his ears flatten when A.S. offers him a glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff, and A.S. just snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually... In one fluid motion, A.S. throws his head back and downs the shot, drinking that. A dark look crosses over A.S.'s face. It's chewy. Chewy? Wait, let me try again. Behind me, Min grumbles. I told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Curris and Min. At the sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt until Curris sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this will not take long. Min's eyes dart from Curris's hand to his face, and then soften. Fine, you first. While they step forward, I linger behind, struck by the sudden revelation. All the people I met today know each other. Good evening, Leander. Ace. Another drinking competition, I presume. Let's take a moment. Yippee! Yippee! It's not pretty boys on my screen right now. What? Oh, is it evening already? I could have sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Curse acknowledges Leander and A.S. with a slight nod, ignoring Very entirely. Not that Very seems to mind. I wonder why he's ignored. He tilts his head, and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots Min looming silently behind Curse. I almost didn't see you there, Min. Looking for your booster seat. This nurse got Oikawa energy. Okay, Oikawa, go off. Min pushes back their hood. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. They're so little. That's pokey. They level Vere with a cool look. I thought A.S. wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Vere's tail gives an angry twitch. Man, can we stop treating him so rudely? Oh, bark. This is a hot scene. So many pretty men here. There's so many pretty men here, and my favorite one is always on screen. What? I know who my roommate might like, and I know who she might not like, and that's all I gotta say. Let me know, girl. Let me know. At the first sign of impending fight, Leander vaults clear over the counter. He slides in between A.S. and Curris. Now, let's try to keep the peace. It's not every day the esteemed doctor takes us up on a drink. His arm snakes around Curris's shoulder. You were finally taking me up on that drink, right, Curris? I'm afraid not. We're merely escorting Kay back to their lodgings. Curris gestures in my direction, and my stomach sinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Kay, it's been too long. Everyone, this is Kay. They're new to Iridia. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fix onto me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. We've already met. Actually, I've already met everyone. You've already met? Oh. The art is so pretty. I'm gonna drown myself. Nobody look. A.S. and Barry level me with subtly amused expressions. Varay's tail gives a lazy wag. We did, not long ago either. I'm starting to suspect they're stalking me. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. Oh, I get the whole thing! I get the whole thing! Can I have this? Can this be... I want this to be my, like, desktop background. Yeah, I'm looking. Thank you. This calls for drinks. What does everyone want? In an instant, all eyes turned to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. I still can't believe they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I feel a faint glimmer of hope. I know I was meant to meet them. The low, pleasant rumble of Leander's laughter pulls me from my restless thoughts. Well, color me surprised. You make friends fast, Kay. I wouldn't go that far. We're more like acquaintances. A wise man once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet. A wise man? You said that. Here. Last week. I can hear Min's lip curl with distaste from across the bar. Leander clears his throat and continues, unperturbed. Let's toast to Kay's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Curse politely declines with a wave of his hand. How about you, Min? No. Are you? No. A resounding pop pierces the din of the bar. We all turn in the direction of the noise. Very looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured into a bottle so old its label's been worn blank. They serve champagne here? Since when? Very pauses in the middle of licking the champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. You don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern on Leander's face vanishes. He laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you've got expensive taste. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look. Unbothered or uninterested in his company, Aes cants his head at me, a light smile on his lips. How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy you a drink earlier. I was wondering what he was saying. I was like, oh, I guess I'll just see him later. I was like, weird statement. See you later. No, my treat. Aes regards Leander with... What? Oh my gosh. I need to quit. They're too pretty. I'm distracted. I want this as my... I need it. I'm locked in. Okay. Aes regards Leander over the lip of his glass. In the dim light, the glint of his crimson eyes look downright dangerous. I'm sure they do. What'll it be, Kay? Water. It's fine. Allow me. Leander pushes a glass from the counter to go flag down the bartender, leaving me with Curris and more distantly, Min. I'm not the least bit surprised that neither has bothered ordering anything. They both seem ready to leave at a moment's notice. Water is a wise choice. Is it your doctor's duty to encourage sobriety? But Curris shakes his head with a patient smile. The drinks here are notoriously watered down. Most likely to cut costs, but it only encourages the patrons to overindulge. Min looks up from adjusting the laces laces of one of their bracers. What's a bracer? These things? The only reason anyone bothers coming here is for the cheap rooms and cheap drinks. Perfect conditions for terrible mistakes. It almost sounds like you're speaking from experience. Their pale face reddens as they look away, scowling. Leander returns with a glass of water that I accept with a murmured thanks. He claps, drawing the attention of the group. All right, everyone, let's toast. May Kay's stay in Iridia be full of bright adventures and discoveries. Cheers. Leander, Aes, and Vera raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arms, and Curris watches with polite indifference. The water is bitter. Bitter? How's it bitter? It's water. Cold, and faintly tastes metallic. But I savor it all the same. Gradually, the din of the crowded bar fades to low murmuring. I find myself relaxing for what feels like the first time in years. Bark. Aren't you a popular one, Kay? I'm guessing you met Curris first. It would be more accurate to say I found them. He saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor. Although I must admit that I was confused when I woke up, missing all my clothes. Leander makes a choked noise somewhere behind a Min's size. It's not what you think. Kay was in grave... yeah, exactly. Kay was in a grave condition. I could hardly treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face Curris's disappointment, and watch Barry snickering behind his hand. That's my cue to change the topic. Curris isn't the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen, I didn't save you. You were simply there. That's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arm with a practiced ease, without so much as looking his way. As reliable as they are moody. You're one to talk, considering you neglected to warn them to stay off the streets at night. Oh, I might have gotten a little distracted. Min's only response is a short breath. At any rate, I never got the chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less soulless alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flicker towards Aes, and their lips twist. Aes is too busy nodding to Vera's enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to stabbing to notice, lost no doubt in an enthralling discussion. I've had enough of this hellhole. Let's go. Min and Curris. I actually think I picked a pretty good voice for that guy. Min and Curris share a brief look, and then the doctor speaks up. Very well, but there's something I must discuss with Leander. If you'll excuse us, okay? And just like that, the three of them depart, leave me alone to sip my water in silence. Or so I think, until I hear a voice so soft it's practically a purr. Lost your tour guide. I don't know why I made it British. Hello? What do you want? Oh, bark. I turn to find crimson and pink eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left just to strike. Just my luck. I had to be abandoned with the two most irritating people I've met all day. Monsters or not, there's no telling what I'll do if either of them push me again. Don't tell me Leander's already snuck off to get his knob slobbered out back. He's got business with Curris and Min. 2 on 1 business, isn't he lucky? I can't tell if it's the champagne or the company, but Vera has grown noticeably more relaxed. He sits with his chin propped up on the back of his hand, with his ears twitching whenever a hiccup shakes his shoulders. Why are you so far away? Come join us. He pats the empty bar stool behind Aes, but I hesitate. The smile Vera wears is sweet and distinctively sly. And with drinks on the mix, I dread how he and Aes will mess with me next. We don't bite. I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago he tried to rob me, and you threatened me. Me? Steal? Surely you must be mistaken. Sure it was me? Yes, it was you, and then you had the gall to kick me out, or just so you could go drinking. He gives another one of his shrugs. I was lonely. A simpler answer than expected, but I guess I can't fault him for that. Oh, I just noticed all my Halloween tunes are gone. Hold on. There we go. I was like, my tunes! Where'd they go? Very slumps forward. Gossamer sleeves pulling where he rests his elbows on his knees. I know he does have a really pretty shirt. Aya sets his hand on Vera's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping over the counter. Ah, my eyes are open. I see. I see. How about we start fresh, Begin with proper introductions. Get off on the right foot and whatnot. I'll start. The name's Vere, hunter extraordinaire. Vere's right hand flutters across his chest and he bows his head, flinching when his hair falls into his eyes. I can't even express to you how I just did that. Ace doesn't say anything. I suppose it's my turn now. It's Kay. Vere considers me for a long moment, his tail idly swaying behind him. Then he knocks back the rest of his champagne. It's a pleasure to formally meet you, Kay. He says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring every syllable. The one syllable that it is. A tingle jumps down my spine. I quickly turn my gaze. Aya smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Is something funny? No. I open my mouth and close it just as quickly. They want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. While their sharp, cat-like eyes keep me on the edge. Something about this tension is fun. It must be the exhaustion. A flash of white over Aya's shoulder catches my eye. Across the bar, Kuris heads for the door. I don't see Leander or Min, but it feels wrong to let him leave without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Barry hums and wags his finger at me as I leave. I slip out through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone, but just as I'm nearing Kuris, I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. What? He stares down at me, nostrils flaring. A roughneck. Out of my way, shit stain. Asshole. I mutter while massaging my throbbing elbow. The roughneck wheels around, shoving a bloodhound out of the way so he can close in on me. What did you say? He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling onto the sticky floor. I'm fine, but my heart leaps out of my throat when I see the roughneck bearing down on me. You trying to start something here? The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back. A group of bloodhounds called by the commotion in a circle, sizing him up. For what feels like an agonizingly long moment, the roughneck looks at me from me to the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. A lob narrowly misses my cheek. Screw it. Too many freaks in this circus tonight. He turns his back on me and comes face to face with Ace. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. Bark, what? You'll do. Fucking bark. What can I say? I'm insatiable for pretty boys. I can't help it. What happens next is a blur. Ace's fist crashes through the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gasps and shouts and even cheers around us. I scramble to my feet right as the frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight and everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, Hey, hey, Ace, take it outside. Ignore them, everyone. Look, drinks are on me. With those 4 words, the wick erupts and hoots and hollers. The ring around me disperses as the bloodhounds and onlookers rush towards the bar. Through the thinning crowd, I catch glimpses of familiar faces. Ace vanishes out the back, dragging the roughneck behind him. Kuris lingers near the door, searching, I suspect, for any wounded before he departs. Min draws their hood up, tight as they slip out a side door. While Vere leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. And Leander, seated at the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically at the bartender. In the space of a heartbeat, I realize there's no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I pursue may be the last person I get to speak to tonight. I follow. And that, my friends, is where we will finish! Woo! I hope you're having so much fun. I know I am. This is way more fun than I expected it to be. I didn't have it. As per usual, I never really have expectations. I just go into it willy-nilly, being like, woohoo, yippee, yippee. I just have yippee energy. Yippee, yippee, yippee. But I hope you're enjoying this game as much or more than I am. And I will see you all next time. Bye.